Hello, I'm William Weers, and this is
Wonder what?
and we just saw Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. So, what did you think of this one?
Let's see. I like the Dalek part. I like the. I really like the way that the genetic mutant looked. Let's see. I thought the plotting was good if you didn't mind that the science was complete crap. You cannot. I've been doing a lot of research on this because I'm doing my science fiction novel that I'm writing. I hope if I say this enough, I'll actually finish it because it's out there that I'm writing. Did you do that too?
Well, I wrote Lord of the Rings over 17 years, but anyway.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I'm slow. But anyway, I've done a lot of research, and there's no way gamma rays from the sun can reach the Earth in a concentrated way. Because the radiation belts will cause a lot of scatter, and then the atmosphere also causes a lot of scatter. So you don't get a concentrated ray of gamma radiation from any kind of coronal flare or sun disturbance. Just so that's out there.
Neil deGrasse Tyson strikes again.
Not to mention which, I mean, we won't even get into genetics. But anyway, I do have more trouble with the history. I would kind of like, it would be nice if they would just sometimes say, that they're not in our dimension. Because we know that Harriet Jones, former backbencher, was never prime minister of the UK. So I guess it's okay to have people from Tennessee in a Hooverville being tolerant to blacks. Whatever. What I recently read with I'm teaching 2 middle school level Korean students, and what we read a novel every week. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of really good middle grade literature out there, but we read this one about a African American boy in the Depression who gets into Hooverville, and Hooverville is integrated, but it's mostly black, and the only white family there, they have nothing. They don't even have enough to eat. They would benefit from associating with the black people, but they still keep to themselves. So, and that's in the North. So, I don't know. There were a lot of sort of social things that I had difficulties with, but I guess if we accept it's another dimension or whatever, we're okay. Putting that aside, I did enjoy it. I like I especially like the character of the boyfriend who gets partly turned into a pig. Laszlo, yes. Because he really, again, it's that argument that even, you don't have to be an extraordinary person to be important and useful. And I thought it was well done. And he had a lot of nuance to his experience, his reception of the experience, and how he communicated his feelings and everything. So I like that. Another thing about the social thing, they would have been a lot more astounded that a black woman was a doctor. And also, when they first get into the camp, you'd think there'd be a lot of people there who would be sick, because there were, especially of malnutrition and exposure issues.
Yeah, I mean, the sound effects, people seem to think so, because when they have conversations, we're constantly hearing a crying baby in the background.
Right, so you think that as soon as they found out there was a doctor, and of course they wouldn't have, even if they'd said that she was a doctor, they wouldn't have believed it, so they would have kind of not heard that at first. But they would have wanted a doctor to come to the various, I read Grapes of Wrath, they would have wanted people to come to the various tents and help them. Anyway, the doctor. So anyway, I wish they had just been a little more realistic about the Depression. But I did really like the Daleks, and I like this message, again, that we had when Rose touched the Dalek earlier, that combination with human DNA seems to humanize the Daleks in interesting ways. And I really love the way that the underling Daleks, all their hesitant rebellion, and their times when they were a little bit taken aback and considering things, was just conveyed by the back and forth of their little eye tube. I thought that was really good. And I also I thought the way the human Dalek people acted in the theater worked well, and I thought that with just the whole message about fascism that was implicit in the Daleks, and also in the timing of it being just before fascism rises in Europe, and all of the things that the Daleks are trying to do sort of become real in human terms. What?
Well, a little bit after, since Mussolini's Italy rose in 23.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when it starts to affect people, and also when the genocide really begins, which is really related to what the Daleks are doing. So I thought that was a really good comment and commentary on that, and something we could use now.
Yes. Well, normally I'm like, this is good or this is bad or whatever. I'm a whole mess of emotions when it comes to this two-parter. There were things I really, really liked in it. Some people objected to Tallulah. I really loved Tallulah and her dialogue.
Why did they object to it?
They thought she was just too much of a caricature. But I don't know. I maybe she's a stock type, but I really like that stock type, that sort of brassy Judy Holliday.
Right, but that type can go various directions, and she could be showgirl with a heart of gold. She could be gold digger, and she's sort of on the fence. Like, she seems, but she really from the beginning appreciates that Laszlo isn't treating her like, no doubt, other people that she's been with have treated her, and the way that she's able to accept Laszlo despite his deformity, and I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a deformity. Sorry. You can take my word card later. But anyway, I thought that's not typical of that type, And she's not coarse and vulgar, which is very typical of that type. If you look at Chicago or what's the Guys and Dolls. I think they elevated her just enough, but not too much that it would be unbelievable.
And she also had some great lines, like, when he's like, "Oh, I got rejected because I wasn't the smartest." "Oh, you're a genius to me, sweetie," or something like that. I like those lines.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. I was kind of wondering if he was going to do something smart to show that the Daleks', assessment of intelligence was limited, but he didn't actually do anything that smart. So I think that's actually.
He just sort of had raw survival instincts.
Well,
its own form of smarts.
Well, he was kind, and that was what really emphasized that that's more important than being smart.
Right. I really liked how we think that, like, the human Dalek hybrid is going to be like this horrible monster. I mean, it ends with the reveal of this horrible creation, and then he's like this total mush sweetie. You just want to give up. Well,
I wouldn't say total mush sweetie, but compared to the other Daleks.
But I like that his plan, as unethical as it might seem, the Doctor is still tempted by it and actually embraces it. So I thought that was kind of interesting, the Doctor actually working with the Dalek human.
Right, I actually didn't believe that. I actually thought that he would sneak something into the DNA when he was working with the tubes and everything, but it turned out just to be accident that he did the right thing.
And I like that. I like that he's fallible in that way, and that he's this huge lover of free will, but he also hates the Daleks so much that just this chance to sort of get them away is sort of, and it is sort of a humanist, let's get the Daleks to be better, pushes him. So right. I thought that was good.
But it's a greater good kind of thing that he engages in, because you can have the pig slaves and all that. That's a mistake on his part.
Right, but I like that. I think it's important that our leads aren't, squeaky clean.
Well, and that shows that he needs somebody like Laszlo. Yeah, there are things that people and also Jones can give him that he doesn't have.
And it might also. It also might show some of the lingering effects of having lost Rose in terms of his desperation to save species and peoples and things.
Or get revenge on the Daleks.
Yeah. So I like that. I liked how angry he got when he said, the Dalek are always surviving, but I'm not, I have everything always taken from me. That was a really raw, angry line that I really liked.
And I think we can all relate to that, because there's so many people. Well, we're just seeing this now with the Trump pardons. These people who deserve to be not just in jail, really, if they were gone, we'd all be better off. And they're being let free and let off and going back to their wealthy lives.
Mass executions.
Yeah, that too. So anyway, so I think we all have trouble with injustice in life and bad people prospering.
Yeah. And so it's another peeling back of the layer of the Doctor. What I really like about the Doctor's character is just how much of the exterior, fly-by-night, happy-go-lucky person he is, just how angry he is underneath the surface. So I like that. I like the Busby Berkeley homage with that dance sequence.
It's very quick, but it was good.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
Although they would never, you wouldn't do that on stage. It wouldn't work, but it's still fun.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't work in Springtime for Hitler, and they formed that giant swastika, but it's still like. Yeah,
although, I actually saw the Rockettes do things like that. I mean, it sort of works, but you don't get that overhead shot.
Right. So there were a lot of things I really liked about it, but then there were other things that I didn't. So for the human Dalek hybrid, I like the idea, I like the execution, okay, but the problem with it is that the human was so nasty when we knew him as just a pure human. Now there was the one scene where he talks about how he's been through the war, so that sort of draws a connection between him and the Dalek, and that was good. But there was never really any regret he seemed to feel about sending people to be pig slaves or anything. So then when he becomes this humanitarian, when he's melded with the Dalek, it was somewhat confusing to me.
I agree, except I think that I think you have to accept the whole tenor of Doctor Who, which is that, humans are basically good, which is something we all liked to believe until the recent rise of fascism, when it became less believable.
Well, it's always not been very believable.
Well, yeah, but history. I mean, until the recent rise of fascism, we didn't have it in our face every day in Western countries. It could easily seem as though we were going in the right direction.
I don't know if Doctor Who actually has. I think the Doctor Who's message is all humans have the capacity to be good. Whether they choose to embrace that capacity is a whole nother kettle of fish.
Yeah, but I think that the thing that would explain what you're troubled by is that even though he's maybe the worst human ever, or one of the worst humans ever, he still has basic human feelings in there somewhere, and in his DNA. They've just been, messed up by his Brooklyn upbringing and his experience in the war.
Well,
but, I just wanted to say, Brooklyn upbringing reminded me there was one horrible acting job. It was that underling at the beginning.
Yeah.
Who evidently. It was so funny because it sounded to me like a British person who had really worked carefully on the accent but couldn't say it fast enough. So that was bad. But I thought this guy did a very good job. I don't know if he was actually whatever. I don't think so.
Yeah,
because it was a little unstable, but it was a pretty good Brooklyn accent. And also the showgirl's Bronx accent was good.
Everybody in the cast was British.
Yeah.
Including the young Andrew Garfield, who played the Tennessee boy, and he later went on to play Spider-Man in 2 films.
And that was fine too, that accent.
This was his first big thing. I did like how the human guy who gets melded with the Dalek is dressed in this black pinstriped double-breasted suit that sort of mirrors the Dalek's black and silver outfit.
Right, and it's a little gangstery with his spats.
Yeah. So it sort of conveys to the viewer right away that maybe there's going to be a melding between these two. One thing I was confused about is why were the Daleks making pig slaves?
Well, to do their grunt work.
What grunt work? It seemed like the pig slaves were capturing people to make more pig slaves. But I didn't understand the reason for that. I mean, they had people building the things on the Empire State Building, so they didn't need the pig slaves for that. Why did they need them for?
Well, they were stooges, right? They were enforcers. Capture the brainy people.
Maybe capture the people for those tubes.
Well, they can't let people go because then word would spread of what they're doing. So they have to do something with them.
I guess.
And the pig slave just last for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Exterminate.
Yeah. It also really strained disbelief in the second part. Daleks wouldn't just kill the Doctor. Those Daleks were planning apparently to turn on their boss, and yet they wait so long, and then they're like, oh, keep an eye on him or something, and then he escapes with Laszlo. I know obviously they can't kill the Doctor, but they had one too many opportunities to just kill him, and they didn't take advantage of it. And then they also had like a sonic weapon that would kill their human slaves if they turned on them, and yet they wait until two of them gets blown up to turn that on, which is odd.
They had a sonic weapon?
Yeah, I remember, because so they fire on those humans who are firing on them.
At the camp?
No, at the theater.
Uh-huh.
They're human slaves. And so then the humans destroy them with their guns. And then the remaining Dalek, Khan Dalek, activates some weapon that then kills all the human slaves.
Right, doesn't he have to get to, isn't he commanding though? Isn't he with the radio? Doesn't he just broadcast the radio from where he's commanding?
Yeah.
It's the ones on the stage of the theater that get killed.
Yes.
So that's why he's able to.
But he's able to do it right away after they're destroyed.
Maybe he doesn't really know what's going on.
I don't know. He's ordering them to like fire and things.
I think they wait too because I think they're very hesitant to rebel against their leader. So that's where they wait to activate their plan.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, they're always monologuing with the Doctor when they could.
I know.
Shoot
It's just this one seemed to be really pushing it. I think it's a long joke with the Whovians that the Daleks really want the Doctor dead, and yet they never seem to want to actually kill him.
I also wonder, when they're pretending to go along with the plan, they can't really kill him because he's needed for the plan, right?
Yeah. I also find it unfortunate that our one black man in the cast is the one guy to get killed.
There's not one black, but one
the main one.
Black character.
Yeah, and he gives this long speech that's pretty drawn out. You know he's going to die, and I feel like it went on a bit long.
Which speech was that?
The one where you just kept saying, "Oh, the dog's going to kill him." The one he makes right before he gets killed.
Oh, right. In the theater?
No.
In the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I know. What is it a speech about?
Oh, about how we're not alone in the universe, and maybe we can be friends and all that.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't really listening to it because I knew he was going to die.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. It was a nice enough speech, but it went on a bit.
Well, I think they wanted him to make a statement that I think his function is kind of to signal the analogy between the story and the history of racism and genocide and all that.
Yeah, I just wish they killed Tennessee Boy instead. But anyway, Frank.
But he wasn't very articulate.
No,
I think you want to kill somebody who shows a lot of humanity, so that you can. So again, that even though humanity triumphs in this episode, you do still have that question and that feeling that doesn't always work out very well. Injustice.
Yeah.
But I agree with that. That I often object that movies like The Fugitive always start with a woman getting killed, and then the whole rest of the movie is about making her death mean something. How about letting her stay alive for once?
I don't know how The Fugitive would have gone then. No, Richard Kimball didn't kill me. Oh, okay, we're done.
I don't object to The Fugitive per se, but just that there's so many movies like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fridging the woman is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else about this episode? So, yeah, I don't know. This episode seems to have a really negative reception with the fandom.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if it has to do if it's because it's our first script written by a woman or not, but it's possible.
I don't know why you'd be particularly negative. It's not really any sillier than any of the others, and I still haven't found one that goes below Unquiet Dead.
Yeah.
Level.
I mean, I thought this episode was meant to be a fun romp.
And I also liked it better than Fear Her. Which
works, but then it's also a little awkward when you're melding it with depression and all the horrors that went on there.
Genocide.
Yeah. So there's that little odd tonal disconnect. And
there's also a lot of running around in the sewers. I found it a little frenetic.
Yeah.
No.
But I did really like, even though I thought it could have been set up more, the whole Dalek human and his whole journey. I thought that was really well done. And as you said, the Dalek interactions with their little antennae, I thought really made the episode. So I give the episode B.
Yeah, B plus.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was bad. I thought there's some stuff I really, really liked. But overall, would I ever go back to rewatch it? Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
It's fluffy and it's a lot of time for fluff.
So here's our Christmas tree all lit up. Yeah, there you go. Looks like it's on fire in this. Okay, anything else about this episode?
Oh yes, I think we realized that the Pirates of the Caribbean Shameless Crib is the Doctor's theme for this season because it came back again.
Yeah.
So yeah, would have been good if it had been copied from somebody else.
I still enjoy it since the Pirates of the Caribbean theme is also copied from something else, but
What's it copied from?
it's very similar to music Zimmer used in Gladiator and also that Zimmer used in The Rock. And
I haven't seen it. The Rock. What's The Rock?
it's a film with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
Is it bad?
It's actually Michael Bay's most loved film.
Ew.
It was what made him a name. Yeah. Sean Connery plays basically old James Bond. Anyway. Off topic. Anyway, so yeah. We enjoyed this one well enough, right?
Well enough.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Merry Christmas if you celebrate.